Right.
Got it.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Menopause Health and Fitness Coach Suzy Gazey. And I've known Suzy for a number of years within the fitness industry. And recently I've been training with Suzy for a number of weeks. And really, this has been part of my own menopausal journey into areas of fitness, health, and well-being. And very interesting the last few weeks with my journey, things that I've noticed very much before I started training with Suzy was a big difference in my weight, in my energy, and my muscle tone, or what's the word? Muscle. I've got fog already.
Your lean muscle mass. Yes,
that's it. And it's something that I have been very used to because I've been a dancer my whole life. Worked as a fitness instructor myself, and now as a yoga teacher. So to lose that level of energy and to feel pain in your body and not be able to move in a certain way or feel strong and to put on weight has been a real eye-opener for me. So I got in touch with Suzy for that reason, because she specializes in fitness for menopausal women. So before we go any further, I would like to welcome Suzy, because she's an absolute inspiration and she's spreading the love and doing some amazing work for women such as myself. So Suzy, welcome. And tell us a little bit about your backstory, how you got into fitness. How did that happen?
Oh, fitness, how I got into fitness is something that I always wanted to do for a very long time. And I got into fitness, and lo and behold, in the middle of my fitness, I had a stroke actually, and in the middle of my training. But I recuperated, and I was very lucky to have a very supportive system around me, because I had 3 children, 2 under 2. And anyway, and so when I did eventually pass, and that, I didn't really do much with it because I had other issues. I became partially sighted and everything. But anyway, this is a bit about my character, and this is actually how I come to the journey of being what I'm doing now. Because I've got a strong character, and someone says you can't do something, I want to go over that and do it. So this is what happened. This is how I got into the fitness, really, is because I had a lot of people saying, well, you can't do that. Made me want to do it even more. So I did. And I've loved I've been doing it quite a long while. I've known Cathy for many, many years. I've been doing it nearly 20 years, if not more. And I've loved every second. We've done great things together. But how I come on this journey, again, things were happening into my body that I didn't understand what was happening to me. Things that I'd previously done before with my exercise, my nutrition, everything that I relied on to give me the type of physique that I wanted, started not to work. And it was like I'd wake up and I just suddenly had a belly. That's how I felt anyway. It's obviously a process. And I started looking into why was this happening to me. And obviously I had an idea it was menopause, but I didn't understand exactly what was happening inside my body for this to happen. So that's when I started to inquire about doing different courses to really get into the science of what's happening to us as women when we hit the perimenopausal and postmenopause. I'm postmenopause now. So for me, I struggled for 5 years with the perimenopause. And so that's where I've come to do what I'm doing now. And from the understanding of what's happening to my body, it actually has helped me an awful lot how to change things about myself that a lot of women think are unchangeable. There are a lot of women, because the doctors, lo and behold, they try and help, but they can't help because they're only GPs, they're general practitioners. They don't specialize in one thing. They can only help so far. Obviously, we've got treatments out there. We've got HRT. There's all other supplements that we can have, but that's only part of it. We don't realize how important exercise and nutrition is at this stage of our lives.
So, for those just tuning in, could you describe the difference between perimenopause and postmenopause?
Well, perimenopausal is, say, that's the first stage, and it can last about, well, we'll say about 5 years. It's some people it's less, some people it's more. It's a very individual thing. Unfortunately, that's what makes it difficult for doctors to say that's what it is, because it's so individual. And you can have numerous symptoms like irregular cycles, post menopausal symptoms, hot flushes, brain fog, central adiposity, which is weight around the waist, irritability, anxiety, depression. I mean, the list goes on. Insomnia. We honestly, and that's peri. However, it's not just subjected to peri. I got some of them, but I got just as many symptoms post-menopause. So each person is so individual. It's to help a person, you need to know all their symptoms and individual things, because every woman is different. It's not a standard thing. So that's in the peri. Your hormones are up and down. Then you hit sort of menopause, where your hormones have just peaked. They peaked just in peri. They peaked. So your hormones have peaked. Now they start to decline. So
now, when you talk about hormones, are you talking about estrogen, progesterone,
yes,
testosterone?
You're talking about, well, you're talking about actually your sex hormones. They're called your sex hormones, and estrogen, progesterone, luteinizing hormone, FSH, was a follicle hormone, stimulating hormone. There's other ones. It's your human growth hormone. That's very important when it comes to exercise, and testosterone as well. All these hormones, they peak about 45. So your body's trying to say your last chance of having a baby, at 45. Then what happens? All these hormones, not just one or two, but all these hormones start to decline until round about the age of 55-ish. Again, that's subjective. Say 55. yeah, exactly. But then they flatline. And I love this saying. When I did my course, it says it literally, flatlines till death.
Oh God.
And it was
awful.
I know it. And it was literally that saying that made me think, I need to know more. Flatline till death, and you think, oh my God. Basically, that's Mother Nature saying we've had our use, and that's it, And that might have been good for prehistoric women, but not good enough
for us. Not for us.
Not for us now. We're very different type of women now. We live longer. We're younger for longer. You have very young 60, 70, 80-year-olds. We're younger for longer. So
well, I think also we've got so much more information, haven't we? And there's things like, there's diet we can look at, there's supplements, there's HRT, there's fitness, there's all sorts of, there's yoga and mindfulness. There's so much more that we can tap into to make that difference.
Yeah, definitely. And every single one of those things you said have a health system to help people with peri to post menopause. Every single one of those things. And to be honest with you, and I said it to Cathy, and I say it to a lot of other women, because I've had to do it myself, you have to become a little bit selfish at this time, because you have to make yourself a priority. Now, most mothers or wives or whatever, you're not actually a selfish person. You tend to give. But this time of your life, if you don't prioritize yourself and your health, you're not going to be very good for the people around you. In fact, they're going to irritate you a lot, to be honest. And because a lot of women do suffer anxiety and depression at this point, this is the reason I say, be a little bit selfish with your time. Make time for you. And I say it. I say no to a lot of things now. which I never used to. I used to say yes to everything. I'm a yes woman. I don't now. I say no because I think that's not really going to serve me on that day very well. So I say no. And that's actually made me a happier person.
Yeah.
Really. You know, you have to.
I think it's really interesting you saying that. That is almost, I really resonate with what you're saying, because I made a very conscious decision at the beginning of the year that I was going to do that. I was going to find my own journey with my own menopause and explore different ideas. But in order to do that, I had to make sure I had the time. But interesting journey, because I'm still kind of pretty, you know, it's early, this new journey that I'm making with it. It's things like, you know, I've come to you because I was experiencing heart palpitations. I knew that my cholesterol was getting higher, my weight, my muscles didn't feel as strong as they used to, and I was getting the my energy was really low, and I was getting that muscle fatigue as well. But as soon as I prioritized and took charge and started addressing diet, fitness, mindset, things did start to change. But you and I know that there's been a couple of sessions that I just couldn't get to. I just couldn't do it. I was so tired that my body said, you can't do it. So when we come into this sort of fitness program during menopause, what are your top tips? Because I was really, I felt like I was letting you down, and I felt like I was letting myself down when I had to say, you know what, today I just can't turn up.
I listen to your body. Okay, you've got to listen to your body. If you're in tune with your body, and I know Cathy, because Cathy, it's her job really to be in tune with her body, and she knows her body and mind extremely well. Not everyone does, but I know she does. I do as well. So I know that you have to listen to your body. There are times that your body's going to say, I actually need to rest today. Okay, and if that happens, it happens. You know, it's just how it is. Sometimes you can exercise through it. That depends how disciplined you are. And if you are that type of person, that's great. Do it. Doesn't mean you're going to exercise your best that day, but you're going to do something that's great. However, I'm very much into listening to, I like today. I was extremely tired at one point today. I sat down, I had a nap. Got to that stage. And you know, I felt so refreshed. It was only for about, I don't know, half an hour. I got up and thought, oh, so refreshed now. I feel really capable for the rest of my day. And I've done it. And really listen, because your body, if you actually listen to what's happening with your body, it is actually telling you to do things, i.e. like the rest. And it's protecting you. Your body is protecting you against this imbalance, because estrogen, the lack of estrogen and progesterone, estrogen especially, estrogen is neuroprotective. So that is protecting your brain, shall we say. So the lack of it is obviously anti-protective. So your body now is telling you that you're tired. Your brain is tired. It's not just your body, your brain is tired. If your central nervous system is tired, you're not going to function properly. And it does even out. It's more so in peri, I would say. This happens. You get to a point post that you've gone through that bit, but it's not necessarily always the case. But you have to really listen to your body, and don't beat yourself up about it. The last thing your body needs, the last thing you need, is to be degrading. So self-saboteur. We've talked about this before. I'm a self-saboteur. I know I have been in the past. So I've done things that I know I shouldn't have done. I've exercised when I know I shouldn't have exercised. I paid the price for that as well, being ill, I get illnesses and things. I've stopped doing that. I'm enjoying fitness more because I've stopped doing that, because on days I think, well, I can't do it. I can't work out today. Yeah. I'm tired. I have to teach, so I have to do that.
Well, that's another thing I was going to ask you, actually, because I think there'll be some yoga teachers and fitness instructors, PTs listening as well, because in our line of work, that's what we do. It's all about the body. And I would imagine if we're experiencing this kind of level of fatigue, there'll be so many PTs out there who are, that's personal trainers, who will be feeling the same. So, you know, if it's your livelihood, that makes it a little bit more stressful, doesn't it? Because you've got to get up in the morning, you've got to teach, you've got to be on your form.
Yeah. Well, I think being it's your work makes it slightly easier to get up and do it. However, I'll tell you what I find that really helps with me. I work in 2 gyms currently, and I talk about my symptoms a lot. A lot.
Yeah,
I mean, practically every single time. And I let people know. I'm very open about, I'm having a good day, I'm having a bad day. I find if not half the people that have come to the class are feeling exactly the same. And we sort of form a bond. And it releases the tension from me if I'm having a bad day, or if I forget my moves, which happens, brain fog. It happens. And I always write my moves down because of that. So I look up and say, oh, what was the next move? And someone will be going, this, Sue, and they'll be doing it. And that togetherness makes me stronger in where we're going and what I'm teaching as well, because people will say, well, so what could we do for this? And then I'll give them that move or what we're doing or that way of training. It's actually more about ways of training opposed to special moves. There's no special move. There's special ways of training for menopausal women, to be honest. And the sooner you start, the better. Start pre-peri, definitely start peri if you can. It's fine starting post as well. It doesn't matter, but to make a huge difference to your lean muscle mass, which makes a difference to your bone density, start as early as possible.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? Bone density, so important, because we want to avoid things like osteopenia, osteoporosis,
sarcopenia, all that. Sarcopenia, which is the loss of lean muscle mass. But the thing is, it's a vicious circle. The more you lose your lean muscle mass, the more you lose your bone density, and it literally is a vicious circle. So you have to work it. It's menopausal is a way of not teaching you, but telling you, you now need to not rely on what's happened previously in your life regards to exercise. Now you need to start thinking for your future. This is how I start. I'm training now. I'm training functionally, thinking of for my older future, that I can do the things I want to do, the same things I'm doing now, I want to do 20 years down the line, exactly the same things. And that's how I think now.
That is actually really interesting, right? Just going back to what you said about sharing with the people in your class, which I actually think that's where women now are in a place of normalizing it, rather than making it that old-fashioned kind of, I don't know, old woman having the windows open in the office and sweating and all this kind of narrative and rhetoric around the aging woman and her losing her youth, her beauty, and that kind of narrative that I definitely grew up in. But I think now we're in a position to say, no, actually, we're just changing and evolving into something new. So actually changes are really, there's changes in our body, but we could change our mindset and view it as a challenge, as something different, as something to work with.
Something better, better for us to work with, and not make it the doom and gloom which it previously was thought of, even amongst the people around us when we were growing up. Women never talked about it at all. The things that they must have been going through must have been horrendous, and women never talked about it. It was never said, ever. Just a quick little story to tell you. This is going back to the early 90s. It's not even that far back. Is that pre-menstrual or menopausal women were put into asylums and given hysterectomies because they thought that's how they cured them. Obviously, that didn't cure them. That actually made them 10 times worse. And that's what used to really happen to menopausal women who had brain fog or going through situations. And that's what they used to do. And that's only in the early 90s. That actually isn't that long ago. And in the 60s and 50s, no one talked about it. And a lot of things happened with women. And there's a lot, what people don't realize, not only do you lose all these different functions with the brain fog, but there's a close link to dementia and Alzheimer's as well. And there's not enough research done about it, but a lot of women do have this, and the signs start of this age in menopause. And that's why it's really important for us to start working our mind and body, not just one or the other, or our nutrition. It is a whole package, and looking after ourselves better.
It's funny because doing my own research into menopause and the drop in estrogen, and actually I always thought it was just the ovaries. You know, I just thought it was the ovaries that had estrogen levels, but there's also the hypothalamus. It affects the certain parts of the brain, and then the adrenal glands and certain fat cells. So it's not just one part of us. And the hypothalamus, which I think is fascinating, is responsible for, you know, homeostasis. So it's interesting to me that hypothalamus is, you know, regulation of temperature, managing stress, mood, behavior, all these things. And all those symptoms that we tend to have in this sort of perimenopause, menopause, is the opposite of that regulation, isn't it? We have these hot sweats and anxiety.
I mean, you don't realise how much estrogen is actually relied on so many areas of our body. We just I mean, I did too. I did exactly the same as you. I just thought it was to do with being a woman and having babies. That was it. That was it, really. And I have since found out that doctors, when they train, when they do the bit about the menopause, it's got a paragraph. That is it.
Yes.
It's a paragraph. So I can't blame them when they have little knowledge, because that's all they've done, really. And that hopefully is going to change in the future. They're going to learn a lot more, specialize a lot more, because there is so many women I think it's like something like 6 million women at any one point in this phase of their life, peri to post. 6 million women is a lot, I think. So people need to start standing up and saying, hang on a minute, we need to look after these women. But it absolutely, as you say, it does the thermostat in our bodies, it does our brain function, it does our muscle mass, not just estrogen, but progesterone as well, and the human growth hormone. All these things decline. It all goes on the way down, and it does for everything. And as you said, for the heart palpitations, because it also helps with the cardiovascular. Some of it is not known why. Some of these things work, why or how it's connected, but it is connected, as you know, because you do get heart palpitations. You know, I've had them too, so I understand that it is connected. But even sort of scientists don't know sometimes how estrogen is connected to some of these things that happen to us, but they do know it is connected, because without it, things start to happen.
Oh yeah, and it's very scary sometimes when these things are happening to your body. So Suzy, the interesting thing when I started doing, because I came to you definitely for the fitness end of things, cardiovascular fitness and strength. And in my mind, I was imagining, you know, it'll be a few weeks, I'll be back in there. No, it's going to be a little bit of a journey, because I think, like, we're all it's slowing down, and my body's got to get back to its, you know, well, whatever fitness it's going to be. But it was interesting talking to you, because you had quite a specific route for me. It may have been maybe different for other people, but it was quite specific. Could you explain what you've designed for me? Why?
What I've designed for Cathy, Cathy is in she's in a different level of fitness, so I can start slightly higher than maybe I start with someone who has a lower level of fitness. However, it's still the same sort of recovery training, or it's a recovery training for menopause. It's totally different than what I've been taught. That's what I've learned, and that's how I know I can change my body, because I've learned a different way of training, and it helps for a very specific reason. We do with Cathy. I'm trying to teach her to lift heavier. She doesn't have to do as many reps, but I wanted to do more sets. Okay, and this is about your lean muscle mass, because people pick up a very light weight and they say, well, I can do 20 of these. This is great. That's actually not building your muscle mass anymore. It might have helped when you were younger, but when you get older, your muscle mass is depleting. You need to really give it a jolt. So you need to pick up heavier than you're used to, but you're doing less reps. So instead of, you start with 8 to 10 reps. As you know, you start with 10 to 12 reps, but you want to bring it down to 8 to 10. So the lower rep range you go, the higher the weight you go. And then you start with different sets. You start with 2 to 3, which is the standard, I think, for all PTs do. And even in my classes, 2 to 3 is the standard. But when you're in menopause, you want to actually bring up to 4 to 6 sets. I know it sounds a lot, but you're only doing about 8 reps of these. Okay, but because it's all to do with the human growth hormone, and that's declining, so you need to build it up quickly and to gain muscle mass, but to keep the muscle mass you've got. That's the thing, is to keeping the muscle, and it makes a huge difference in how a person looks. I've seen people with a depletion of muscle mass, young people as well, and they have a body of a 70-year-old, to be honest, because they've got nothing, they've got no foundation holding their skin, and they need to pick up some weights. Even if it's only tins, or if it's bottles of water. I'm not asking everyone to go out and buy weights, but there are ways about that. People can ask me. I've done it on holiday. I got 2 5-litre jugs of water and use them as weights. You don't have to go and buy weights. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You just have to give yourself a bit of time. And that's one of the things, but a very, very important thing that I've done with Cathy, and has a scientific reason why I've added HIIT into her training, because this HIIT is the one that is going to make a huge difference into your fat around your waist. Because what happens, because of the lack of estrogen, progesterone, glucose gets into your bloodstream. Now, estrogen also affects your blood vessels. I mean, they constrict. Vasculitis is called. They constrict. But the glucose gets into your bloodstream, and it's unable to pump out, going to the muscles that you're using without something. So if you can't pump out, then it gets stored as fat. And that's what literally is happening to our body when we're getting the fat around the thighs, we're getting the fat around the middle. Seems like overnight, but it's not. So the form of HIIT is what pushes that glucose out of the body into the muscles that is being used, and then it's going to be used up into that exercise we're doing. And also, not only that, you don't have to do it for long as well. HIIT is a very short process. It's like a 30-second move. You could do it like in a space of 10 to 15 minutes, you're done. It's not, there's nothing wrong with the slow, steady state of exercise, which is like people do running, walking, all that. It's a very good mindful thing to do. But at this stage of our lives, it's not effective in fat loss, shall we say.
I agree with that. I totally agree, because I work Monday to Friday. I'm teaching, I'm doing lots of walking and rushing around, and I wasn't losing weight at all. I was gaining it. But I must say that since I've been doing your sessions, and we've only done 6 weeks.
And
I've lost nearly half a stone.
And that's the HIIT. I mean, you were struggling with the HIIT initially.
Oh, big time.
And it is a struggle at first, but that's the part of it being HIIT. It's high intensity. And Cathy's high intensity is not going to be the same as someone else's high intensity, or Cathy's high intensity is not going to be the same as mine, because that's one of the part of my job. So I teach insanity, which is high intensity. But I'm exactly the same as you, Cathy. Because my body's got used to what I do at work. So it wasn't really working for me. I have to personally do different things myself to push this glucose out. It's actually one of the reasons I got insanity back as well, because I thought, well, I need it, so I might as well do something that I'm already trained in.
And what an inspiration, you know, I mean, in your 50s, teaching insanity.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I liken it to me still being able to do handstands, you know, that's, we're going to be doing these things when we're in our 80s, 90s.
Yes.
Come on.
I didn't know how important things like, not insanity per se, but this HIIT is so important for working the type 2 muscle fibers. Why that is really important is neuromuscular, okay, power. And this neuromuscular power, which is like running up the stairs and jumping onto steps and sprints and agility and everything, will make you a badass granny, okay, because it will give you the power. If you had a fall, you have the power now to stop yourself from hurting yourself. Your quickness, your hands will come out, your quickness will stop you having a major injury. I mean, Cathy knows I teach functional fitness. I've really broke it down to functional fitness, where everything that I teach now, I did it today actually. We did a Turkish get up. But the main aim of that was, and they struggled. Not everyone, but a lot of them struggled with that. Yeah, and how important it is for us to get up off the floor.
Yeah,
hugely. If something happens in our later life, we need to know how and have the muscles and the agility and the coordination to get up off the floor. And that's why I teach lift moves, carry moves, press moves, and pull moves, and all of these I teach enable us to live a better quality of life moving forward. I want to live it now, but moving forward, I'm thinking of my future as well.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I was, you know, in my fitness days, things like beats per minute, I was fast. And when I came to you and I could barely do knees up, running on the spot, I was thinking, my goodness, what's happened? But with your help, I'm slowly feeling like I can do that again.
You're definitely improving. I see it each time you do it. You're improving. I mean, initially you were stopping. Now you can actually do the full 30 seconds or whatever we do it for. And it's something that if you don't do, I've been lucky or fortunate that I'm a Beachbody coach too, so I follow programs being a coach. So I'm consistently doing something. Now I've just had a weekend away and I've come back and it's like, oh my God, I'm dying on the first class. I would like people to consistently do something every day. It doesn't have to be weights. It doesn't have to be HIIT. It could be a sport they like. It could be an activity they like. I don't care what it is. Dancing, putting the music on, dancing, it doesn't matter. But doing something every day so you're consistently doing some form of activity every day. And that really is a very key thing, I think, as you get older, because it's hard to come out of a vegetative state and then start doing it. You can do a slow build to get to that consistency. I'm not asking everyone suddenly now to do something every day. You start with 2 times a week, you start with 3 times a week, you add it on, may have 1 or 2 rest days, because as we get older in menopause, we need rest days. But a rest day could be something like Cathy does, like I do. Go and meet your friends and have a lovely walk. Have a cup of tea, have a chat. That's your rest day. You're still active, but it's a rest day. You're not doing a weight thing. You're not doing a HIIT thing. You're being active. And as I said, there's actually a good book actually out there. It says walking doesn't do much. Walking doesn't do much really for fitness, but it does an extreme amount, especially walking outside, for your mental agility ability. It's a great thing to go outside, walking with your friends for your mindset. I would recommend it for anybody.
Yeah, we do a monthly one, a monthly walk. If anybody listening wants to join us, it's free. We go on the first Sunday of every month. And it's great. It's just a way of walking, talking, being in nature. It's a well-being thing, you know. It's really lovely
100%
activity, isn't it?
That's it. Well-being, that you've just said the word well-being thing. What people need to forget about is not think too much about weight loss and fitness and exercise and getting to be an athlete or whatever, or getting that beach body. Forget all about that.
Oh no, really?
Those days are gone, Cathy. They were gone when I had kids. They're gone when I had kids. But now you start thinking a better quality of life, a better well-being going forward, a more stable, happy life going forward. There are bad things that happen to you in your life, you know, but if you get the foundation of these things in place, it's easier to work through it. And to be honest with you, I think it teaches you not to get into those bad states sometimes. Because if you're being mindful, if you're looking after yourself properly, you won't allow yourself to get into that position.
I think you're right. Because you know the problem with menopause is that it could drag you down, and for some people it really is hell on earth going through the menopause. Anybody going through that, go and get some help. Go and see a GP, and talk to people about it. That's an absolute, because you don't need to suffer. But if you're able to try different routes. And the great thing about fitness for me, and it's similar to yoga in a way, sometimes you don't want to train, sometimes you don't want to practice, but it's a discipline that's so good for you anyway, you know, having some sort of discipline, boundaries in your life. When you put the hard work in, you do reap the rewards. It's that old saying, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, there's many days actually that I'm tired. So I'm tired doing what I do. I'm tired because of menopause. I'm tired of life. I'm tired, you know, it just gets like that. I don't sleep very well, and that's probably due to menopause as well. So that's another key thing that you need to sort of work upon, to have a very good nightly routine to help you sleep better. So, but I do my workout, and I do a modified version of the workout that I was going to do. I feel happier that I've done it, and I've learned to not to goad myself and say, "Oh, I could have done it better." No, I've done it, and I modified it, and I've just done it, and I feel happy that I've done it. I don't care that it wasn't up to my high standard. It was a modified standard which was adequate enough for me to do it. And I think sometimes you have to get to that point. It takes time. Talking to medical professionals, we're not that. You know, we're not doctors. We're just women going through menopause, really. We just happen to be in the fitness field, but we could have been in any field. But talking to a medical professional about this, about the support, about the things that are out there, is extremely important. Because there's also something like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, may work well with you. There's also a therapy for sleep, which may help you too. Obviously, there's therapies for relationships, because they are going to struggle. You got to remember that if you're struggling, your relationship's going to struggle. And as supported as your husband or partner may be, they're not going, if they're male, they may not be male, but if they're male, they're not going to understand. They'll feign understanding, but trust me, they do not understand what you're going through, because there is moments in your life. I had one weekend quite a few years ago in perimenopausal that I said, I literally thought, if I don't do something after this weekend, I won't be able to live longer, because I had the worst weekends ever of how I felt. Then I got into some supplements which really helped me, and that was personally, I'm going to say it's black cohosh, it's for me worked well, but go and talk to your doctor, because some people can't take that through other medical reasons. I can take that, I can't take others. But don't just take it, take something, talk to your doctor first.
Yeah, go and get some professional advice,
Yes,
because that's very important.
Yeah, I'm a coach in menopause and fitness. I can even do a nutrition, but I'm not a nutritionist. There's a difference. Yeah. So if anyone says to you that's in my field and they're not says that they can help you, I can guide you and help you, but I'm not a nutritionist. It's a different thing altogether. I'm not a dietitian neither. I can help, I can guide, I can put you on the right track or where you need to go, but you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful. That's the unfortunate thing as well that's going to happen, I think, personally, when it comes to menopause, is that we are going to set gurus out there that are not there for your best interest. Yeah. Go and talk to people that you don't have to pay, right? You know, like your doctor. There will be a lot of gurus out there. I'm not saying I'm a guru. This is just my job. This is what I do. And I decided not even that long ago, so passionate about menopause, fitness, nutrition. I'm so passionate about it because of myself that I want to now niche down and just do that.
Yeah.
And really, that's all I'm helping. I do have male customers, but I say to them too, what you're learning from me is going to help your wife.
Yeah,
because exactly. You're starting to understand. And I talk in front of the men. I don't just limit it to women. I talk very, very verbally in front of the men, to the extent that I can see the eyes rolling. Oh no, she's at it again. But I say, what I'm teaching is going to help you. And I really do, but I do actually think that they believe it, because I see their faces and they're all nodding, because they see the symptoms in their wives. Yeah. They see what their wives are going through. So it gives them a slight better understanding, because your partner may not be necessarily the best person that may not be the person you want to talk to about it. I don't. I'm going to tell you that now. I don't, because I prefer talking to a woman about it, if I'm honest, because I just know she has a better understanding what I'm going through.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you're doing an amazing job, Suzy. Absolutely amazing. Where can people get hold of you? I'll put details in the link, yeah. But just tell everybody how they can get in touch with you and your social media handles and things like that.
Yeah, look, you can get hold of me on Instagram, you can get hold of me on Facebook, you can email me and Coach Suzy G at gmail.com. But on Instagram, I'm Suzy Gazey _ Menopause Fitness Coach. I just changed my handle, so I'm just like, yeah, that's what it is. Menopause Fitness Coach. You'll see me, you'll recognize me. My cheesy grin. My phone won't even open unless I grin at it. It literally doesn't recognize me unless I grin. So it's literally, it only unlocks if I smile. So, and I'm smiling more since I've done this. No lie, smiling more. I'm on Facebook as Suzy Gazey. I'm there everywhere as Suzy Gazey. Shape Up with Suzy G is another way. I don't get those messages so much. But Instagram, Facebook, Coach Suzy G. If you know me personally, you're probably on my WhatsApp list or something. You can message me through there. I'll try and get back to everybody. I want to help as many women as possible. I do obviously charge for some of my services, it's a business, but my information, a lot of my information is free, because I want to talk about this to every woman I meet. I sat down, I've just been away in Benidorm and spent one evening talking to a lovely woman called Jane, all about the menopause, because she was struggling. But that's just how I flow. I do that because I'm out here to share the knowledge that I've gained to help other people. Same as Cathy. Cathy is a massive inspiration, guys. If you've never tried, I haven't tried a yoga class. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I will fit it in. But I know Cathy of old, and she is an amazing, upbeat, uplifting type of person to be about. And anyone that knows will tell you that. Absolutely.
Oh, bless you, Suzy. Well, we've got to keep spreading the positivity, haven't we? Because there's a lot going on out there that isn't so positive. So we're gonna spread that sprinkle that dust everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a really silly question now, which I'm going to ask all my guests. So if you were on a desert island, what would you take?
What would I take? Oh gosh. I tell you what I definitely would take, because I take this with me on holiday. I take a set of dumbbells for a start. So I take it on holiday with me everywhere I go. I get in trouble with security, but I always have a set of dumbbells. So I always take a set of dumbbells, which is terrible, really. I would take the dumbbells, my music, because I love my music, and an extremely good positive book.
Not HRT then.
Oh God, no, forget about HRT. Well, you see, that's how good I'm feeling. That is actually,
yeah,
because I'm on HRT now, and yeah, it does help, especially with the brain fog. I'm not gonna lie, it absolutely helps. But it gets you back to where you were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a miracle. You still need, but from getting back to a state of being able to help yourself. That's what I found about HRT. I was actually, before this course, before the course I did, I wasn't on HRT, and I thought to myself, how am I going to do this course? I can't even think straight. I had this heavy load on my head. Within a week of having the HRT, the load lifted, and I was able to do this course.
Fantastic.
You know, and I honestly, and so, but it's not a miracle, worker. You still need to help yourself. It's not the be all and end all. From that is your starting point. If you can't have HRT, there are a huge amount of supplements out there that will help, but seek guidance on this. Go and see a menopause specialist or your GP. They will help you. Trust me, they will help you, because HRT is not for everybody. Not everyone can have it, and you have to be closely monitored. One, if you do have it, or if you're not, even if you're having supplements, you need to be closely monitored that they're working in your favor and not against you. But yeah, I suppose I would take that as well in my bag, because maybe things go downhill after that. But that I definitely would take. Honestly, I think I'd be very content with my dumbbells, my music, and a good book and HRT, and I'd be laying on the beach in the sunshine, extremely happy person.
That's brilliant. Suzy, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. You know, maybe in a few months we can revisit and see how my fitness is going, and
Yes.
how the program's developing. Maybe we can revisit. But I would recommend everybody find Suzy and follow her fitness plans, because she's brilliant. She is absolutely brilliant, and you will feel 1,000 times better, as do I. So thank you. Oh, it's gone blurry. It's not blurry. So yeah, thank you very much. And
thank you, Cathy. Yeah. Thank you so much for me to share it.